You're very welcome to the League of Ireland Premier Division preview. It's the last round of Friday games before the international break. I'm at McDonnell Stadium where Shamrock Rovers have beaten Galway United 2-0 tonight. Aidan Fitzmaurice, you're at Mount where Bohemians 3-1 with Dundalk. The two teams that we said probably needed to win at home, Waterford and Derry City, haven't done that. We'll get to their games after. But I think we'll go to your game, Aidan, the TV game, because this was an interesting storyline there that the table toppers have been held at home by a newly promoted team that's made waves. But just following your reports and your updates in the blog, it doesn't sound like held at home makes it sound like the Dundalk were defensive. It sounds like it was the opposite, that they had to go there.
They really had to go from the start. You could see that, I think, for the first few minutes. There hasn't been much entertainment at Bohs. I was here for Galway last week, not a lot of chances, and Bohs shells in Talca was fairly incident-free, but this was a cracking game. Heimer Hagrimson was here, a lot of attacking players. Not all of them Irish, unfortunately. Owen Kenny was really good, but Bohs, I didn't hear boos at the end, but certainly a lot of groans. Bohs are actually lucky to have got a point here. Bohs were quite poor, quite sluggish. Dundalk really probably will feel aggrieved that they didn't win. They were first half cagey enough in the first half, but Dock were excellent in the second half. They drove things from midfield. Darrell Horgan was so much energy. Gibemi Orubi, the first time I've really seen him, he was excellent up front. And for Bohs, who've been so tight at the back, so many clean sheets, if they look back on that goal, Sean Spate, academy product who's only on for the injured Mayo Aminasun, cross in from the left, he beat Jordan Flores. The ball was there, that was the first mistake for Bohs. Flores beaten. Kasper Karachka could have taken it. Maybe Ruby got his head to it, and very, very soft goal to concede. So as the game went on, there was only going to be one winner, and that was going to be Dundalk. So I think Bohs will be quite happy to not happy to get a point, but fortunate to get a point, because they could have lost this when Bohs were way off tonight. Credit to Kieran Kilduff for his approach. They didn't come here, they didn't park the bus, they didn't sit back. They came here with the swagger, and just watching people like Owen Kenny roaming around Stadium Park, where Owen Kearney, where his dad won a league and made his name, you could say. Dundalk were really, really impressive.
Yeah, a bit of tension at full time again by the looks of it. We're watching maybe Derek Pender and Kieran Kilduff. We're not sure off the TV footage. One of our colleagues sent us to us, but a little bit of spark in that game.
Major, wouldn't say spark was quite fair. Referee Rob Hennessy really refereed it pretty well. There was a couple of early tackles. I think that was just the usual probably frustration maybe on both sides from the Bohs point of view, that they'd let this game, they're 1-0 up at home to the newly promoted team, and they let it slip. And from the Dundalk's point of view, probably a bit of frustration that they didn't win. So there was nothing. It wasn't as bad as the Talca Park stuff last week. It's just look, there's links there between the clubs. Stephen O'Donnell has obviously been at Dundalk, and players crossed over. Marcus Strods, who was good for Bohs in the first half, ex Dundalk. So Keith Buckley, got a nice welcome here when he his first game back at Bohs for Dundalk against his old club. So no, that was just a little bit of tension at the end. The game was a good game, played in the right spirit. But if you're Dundalk fans going back up the M1 tonight, you'd be a lot happier than the locals here in Dalymount.
Yeah, so I suppose at Tallaght Stadium, the bottom line here is the Shamrock Rovers have beaten Galway 2-0, and they're 3 points off going into the break, 3 points off the top, without necessarily having hit fifth gear. I think tonight it's a little bit like that as well too. A goal in each half. Danny Grant, Aaron Green. Galway very competitive. Had a good spell in the second half, spells in the first half without. Lee Devil had one chance, didn't necessarily threaten. Very typical of sort of Rovers this year as well. The squad strength comes to the fore. Like John O'Sullivan comes off the bench. Jack Byrne was maybe picked up a little knock. He creates a goal. You might draw a list of Rovers players from top to bottom, ranking them maybe in terms of importance. And John O'Sullivan and Green might be in the top 15 or 16 yet. They're delivering tonight. So I'm not going to dwell too much on this game. I suppose in a way what we might have expected. Now, I suppose what we might not have expected at the start of the season is Pats to be this close going into the break. And Waterford, okay, they'll be hoping Sligo Rovers don't get a result tomorrow, or else they're in danger and getting caught adrift. But it's supposed to be a tale of two clubs really in that game, Aidan. Waterford 0, Pats 2.
Yeah, I just saw the first goal, and Stephen McMullen, and I think we mentioned as well the players going away in international duty. Marcus Stroud's going away with Latvia. They're playing Northern Ireland, who've a couple of players, including Stephen McMullen. If the Northern Ireland coaching staff are watching that, I don't think Stephen McMullen won't get a cap next week. So it just seemed again that Waterford's just so open at the back. And Pats, I think we spoke before the game, Dan, about Max Mata, so he started on the bench again. So maybe it's a case where same with Piero for for Galway. Maybe the manager's just waiting to get the international break over, get those players fully fit. But if Pats are doing this without starting the likes of Aidan Keane and Max Mata, getting the goals, Luke Turner scored tonight, a huge plus for St. Pat's. To be without Elbazetti in power, to be without Forrester, to still wait to unleash Max Mata, it's very impressive. But you have to worry for Waterford now. They've changed personnel, they've changed formations, they've changed everything else, and nothing is working. You would worry about Waterford and how patient John Daly will be with the players he has, and how patient the club will be with John Daly.
Yeah, I will say I saw little bits of the second half just in stoppages here, and with the earlier kickoff, Aidan Keane looked sharp. Basically, the second goal was really the Aidan Keane show, and he could have had a third. So, I mean, we'll reframe our predictions of Pats if all of those players that are question marks have injury-free years and have good years. But look, maybe we've buried the lead. I think maybe a lot of people, in terms of watching the goals later on, we'll just be looking at Derry and wondering what happened, because against Royal United tonight, all the pressure on Derry, 2-0 up. A few little interesting things tonight. James McLean played left of the back three. His brother Patrick was out. He actually lofted in a corner for the second goal, Darren Markey against his old club. And you see the celebrations, you can always feel the relief. Derry, you feel they're going to head into the break at least with some of the noise quelled. And then basically 2 goals in 3 minutes. I will say the genesis of them is long balls from Drogheda, just raining the ball down on Derry. But 2 really, really good strikes from Doyle and Davis. Bohs at full time. And I just think for Turner Lynch, I think it's a nervous international break now as well, too, because that was a must win, and they haven't won it.
I think we said that before. I think they had to win it. We also spoke about Drogheda's good record with one of those bizarre things, that good record in Derry that they have. And Derry, again, they've had this advantage of all that run of home games, and they haven't made it. So, look, Derry aren't going to do anything in this international window, but it has been a very, very, very poor start. And all those, again, unfortunate there. Without Brian Maher, the number one, he's been there for a long run, unbroken. He'll be out for a while now with the surgery on his hand. But again, I didn't see the goals, but they've tried 2 goalkeepers, and that.
Yeah, they're exceptional goals. I wouldn't. It'd be a bit unfair now on Eddie Beach to talk about the goalkeeper when people see the quality of the strikes, particularly the first one from Mark Doyle. But I think, look, it's just, you're looking at the changes they're making later on. They're reaching around a bit again, Derry, and yeah, it's an uncomfortable break, I think, for all concerned. But I suppose when you do look at the league table, and I appreciate it's early days, but you see even just the top 3. Bohs 18, Pat 17, Shamrock Rovers 15, Derry City on 9 going into the break. So that's not where they want to be. And obviously we've got Sligo Rovers and Shelbourne tomorrow. But look, I know we're going to go and catch up with the various people. We will have all the reaction to tonight's games on the Irish Independent from tomorrow morning. Aidan Fitzmaurice, thanks for joining me, and we'll be back after the international break.